All right, so we are live, folks. All right, happy Saturday. Welcome to the Finance Rebel Show. Saturday is our very special edition of the Finance Rebel Show where we do our wealthy conversations. So every week, I try to pick a topic that we can expound on, go deep on, and hopefully bring some new education, some new enlightenment, some new forethought into it. Remember, the Finance Rebel Show is all about making money simple, easy, and plain so we can raise the financial IQs of everybody in the community. So it'll be a lot easier for all of us to get to that place called financial freedom. All right. Because at the end of the day, that's what most of us want. Some of us don't want that, but that's what I want. That's my aim and goal for these broadcasts, these live casts, this content that I put out. Just trying to help everybody do a little bit better. Well, a lot of bit better, actually, as we go on. Because the more money we have, the more knowledge we have about money, the better money decisions we can make, the better money we can make on our job, the more money we can make in our businesses, the more money we can make in our investments. And with all of that, the more we can do to help our community strive for a better level of excellence. All right. So today, again, it's Saturday. It is December 5th. And today we are talking about banking. Question: is banking dead? What do y'all think? I know my IG people have already chimed in. Um, my IG people have chimed in already. They said they feel banking's dead. Got a couple of questions over there. Urban Beard Life says, he said the Motley Fool said I should sell my Ford. That's cool. I'm not selling mine. I talked about Ford last week too. Everybody kind of dogged me about my Ford share holdings, and guess what? I'm up. I'm up big time on Ford. Everybody told me Ford was a dog. Everybody told me I was crazy for buying Ford, and I kind of gave the rationale. But if you didn't check out last week's episode, go back and check it out, because I talked about Ford. I talked about how I brought it, right? And remember, I brought Ford in my Cash App portfolio. My Cash App portfolio is what I share with everybody a lot of times, especially on IG and YouTube. And I just showed how I was able to buy 100 shares, which is called a lot, L-O-T. That's a lot. You can have an even lot and a round lot. 100 shares is a round lot. And I just showed everybody how I did it over a couple of months using very little money. So you don't need a whole lot of money to invest in the stock market. You just need some patience, determination, and consistency. So if you haven't seen that, go back and check that out. That is definitely on YouTube. Okay. So Nicole, no, I killed the YouTube broadcast, right? Because I'm back for the second time now because I had some technical difficulties. All user error, basically, all my fault. But I killed it because I wasn't broadcasting at the same time to Facebook. So I got one and not the other. And so I don't want to leave anybody out. I'm trying to create a great convening of financial minds on this great Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon. All right. So listen, y'all know what the Finance Rebel Show is about. Do me a favor, share this out. If you know anybody who's trying to get some guidance in creating financial freedom for themselves and family and community, share this out with them. This is the show for them to talk about. All right. But as we do every Saturday, we like to do a bit of a roundup, look at what's going on in the markets, see how things are going, see how things are shaping up. And let's just go over the markets real quick. So the S&P 500 closed Friday, $3,699. All right, $3,699. All right. So it was up this week 1.678%. In the S&P 500, the S&P 500 is the 500 largest publicly traded companies in the United States. That's the one I like to use to look at the overall stock market. That's the one that most professionals use as well. But it's up 14.5% year to date. So the market's starting to chug along. For all those people that said, oh, if Biden gets elected, the market's going to tank. Again, if Biden got elected, the market's going to tank. Well, it's still moving strong. Now, the market's also moving along because a lot of people are very hopeful about these vaccines that are potentially coming out. Super duper air quotes. You see ones from Pfizer. We've seen some from Moderna. There's actually several other companies that are putting together or building out vaccines as well. The question I still have, one, is I don't think anybody's looking at the potential side effects of these things. And two, how are they going to roll them all out? But the markets jumped dramatically on that news, and I find it very interesting. So right now, the stock market, to me, is hopped up on vaccines use, and everybody's happy and giddy and jumping around and buying more stocks. But these companies don't necessarily make any more money outside of the vaccine companies, right? Because a lot of them are getting government funding, especially from the DOJ or the DOD, Department of Defense. All right. So oil closed at 46.09. Again, this is a result of more vaccine juice, as I like to call it. Oil's up 2%. All right. So oil now is only down year to date 18.5%. So oil's been down almost close to 50%, probably lower than that. Remember a couple months ago, oil went as low as a negative number, like a negative $1 or something like that. Now, that was all technical stuff. Oil per barrel was never actually that low, but that's what the futures were. So again, $46.09, up 2% in the last week, and it's down again a negative 18.5% year to date. So that lets us know that with these vaccines, they're thinking travel is going to start opening up more. Cruise lines, airplanes and automobiles, or airlines, planes and automobiles are going to start moving more. I'm not necessarily so sure about that. And usually, again, the market, whether it be the oil market, the stock market, is usually an indicator of what's going to happen in the so forth future. And everybody's thinking it's going to happen tomorrow. I think it's going to happen in like 18 months to 24 months before we see any real getting back to regular travel, if that at all is even possible. But it's going to be interesting either way. It's going to be interesting either way. All right. Gold closed at $1,842 on Friday. It was up 3% for the week, and gold is still up 18.44%, or roughly, let's say 18.5%. I like round numbers. It's easier to communicate. It's easier to understand. So it's up 18% year to date. So that's kind of the week roundup. We are seeing some news that we're going to have some IPOs from Airbnb. And I always tell y'all to be careful with IPOs. And what does IPO stand for? Initial public offering. So I always say be careful about IPOs, because usually on the first day of an IPO, I tell everybody to avoid it. If you like the company, if it's a stable company, it's fine. I just say everybody to avoid it. Again, when I'm talking about everybody, I'm talking about us mom and pop, us individual investors. The people that really, really make bank on IPO days are the big institutions, the big banks, the hedge funds, the private equity firms, the venture capital firms. They are the ones who really make the big money on IPO day. Sometimes the prices get pumped up and they sell them to everyone else, right? When I say everyone else, they're selling to other institutional and high net worth individuals. They get the first go at it. And then so there's the IPO number, there's the IPO figure. So let's say the number you're supposed to come to market with is $20. And so the IPO opens at $20. Who gets it first? Again, the banks and the institutions. Who gets it next? Regular folks like you and I. All right. And then we get the overall open price. So we normally don't get the IPO price. We normally get the open price, the price that it actually opens with on the market. And typically, because the stock market is like an auction, right? Anybody ever been to an auction? 5, 5, 5, give me 20, 20, 20, 30, 30, 30, goes to the highest bidder next, right? That's how it goes in the stock market. So it's an auction system, so it can get really bid up really, really quickly if you're not paying attention. All right. So again, it's my opinion, stay away from IPOs on the first day of the open. Now, again, if you like the company and you feel the company is a good company, buy it later, buy it a week later, buy it a month later, watch it, see how it's going to react, see what investors are going to do. A lot of times the new investors, a lot of times the mom and pop investors that like to hop on it, and they're part of the hype, right? And then you get this kind of herd mentality and it pushes the price up when it really shouldn't be pushed up at all. All right. So just keep an eye out on that, y'all. But what I wanted to talk to everybody about today is banking. I've seen a lot of people say that banking's dead, that it's a waste of time and money to put money into the bank, that we don't need savings accounts anymore. We should just put the money in the stock market. What do y'all think about that? To the listening audience, what do y'all think about that? Chime in with that as I check in with everybody who just came in. Okay, so Urban Beard Life said, Motley Fool said I should, or said he should sell forward. What I'll say to that is I'm not selling. And I think you shouldn't take any analyst advice at all. You should make up your own mind based on your own process on how you feel the stock will do. And what is your time frame? A lot of people don't know the time frame. My time frame for buying Ford is 10 years plus. What's Motley Fool's time frame? I don't know. And that's no diss to the Motley Fool. I love some of the Motley Fool's podcasts as well. All right. Butterfly Diva, welcome. Urban Beer Life also says, I noticed biotech and Moderna is up, but Pfizer is holding. I'm not selling. Oh, okay. You're not selling. Gotcha. All right, cool. Let's see who else has joined us in the Facebooks and YouTube verse. So, Adrian, how are you? Welcome. Thanks for joining us. One Shot Game Show. How are you? Welcome. Yep, putting money in the bank. ? So, are you putting money in the bank? And Miss Edith says, happy Saturday. Thank you, Miss Edith, for being here. Oh, you shared and started a watch party. All right. Thank you, lady. Jamar Jordan, EA, my brother, my tax brother over there. Good morning to you, sir. Welcome. Don Johnson. What's up, Don? How you doing today? Happy Saturday. All right. Adrian Anderson says, I'm holding long-term with GM and Ford. It may take a few years, but they will eventually come back. Where'd you buy that, Adrian? I'm curious. Adrian, did you watch last week's episode when I broke down my Ford earnings? I believe you were. All right, so Miss Adrian says, good afternoon, happy Saturday. All righty. Please tell me if the bank are loaning our money and investing for them, I need to deposit it in a system that will benefit me. Well, we'll talk about that. We'll definitely get into that. All right, so Miss Edith says, I believe we should only invest in stocks. Okay, but where should you save, Miss Edith? That's the question. Where should you save your money? All right, so Butterfly Diva says having money in the bank is having immediate cash assets at hand. Jack, the first three. How y'all doing? How you doing, Jack? As long as the banks are lending money, I'm rocking with them. All right, cool. So we got some folks here. Folks ready to go. Folks ready to rock and roll. So again, I wanted to just kind of talk about this a little bit because there are some fundamental things I think people are missing. All right, everybody is kind of hyped up. They see the market's running, and this happens every time the market runs, right? People think that the market is the only solution. But I want to talk about this, and so hopefully once we go through this, you can kind of have a better understanding of assets, have a better understanding of risk reward. All right, because investing is really about risk reward. So when you hear Warren Buffett talk about investing and he talks about risk, about avoiding risk as much as possible, and that being the true measure of wealth or the true way to get the wealth, you can begin to get to understand the framework in which he's talking about. So I'm going to put this up on the screen. Sadly, my IG family can't look at this. My YouTube folks will be able to see this, and my Facebook folks will be able to see this. All right, so I want to show you this, right? So it's banking dead. All right, so like I said, I've been seeing a lot of people talk about banking, talk about how bad it is, talk about how people are losing money, and I don't think that they're really thinking it through. They're only truly worried about is if they can get rich. But the way they're thinking about it, in my opinion, is a bit toxic because people are really following the herd along and they're not really doing any real planning as it goes, right? And so again, just to give us a little context, and let me pull this up real quick. Does anybody know what the average savings account is for an American? Does anybody know what the average emergency is? Or typically that, all right, let me say this. So it states that the average American cannot survive a $500 emergency. So what does that tell you? What does that tell you? I mean, I think that's pretty scary, right? Let me pull this up real quick. I forgot I wanted to bring this up as well. Give me 1 second, y'all. Bear with me one moment. I've been having tech issues all morning. OG Law One, how are you? So I've been meaning to talk about this. All right, so let me do this, y'all. I started in the wrong procession. I wanted to show you this first, actually. So bear with me 1 second, everybody. Bear with me 1 second. Then we'll go back to the overall presentation. So CNBC ran a report. They ran this report July 20th, and the report says many Americans who can't afford a $400 emergency blame debt. All right. And so it goes back to another study that says some of 40% of Americans who struggle to come up with $400 for an unexpected emergency. Just how are so many Americans so short on cash? The researchers landed on a plausible cause for why so many Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. All right. So most people are living paycheck to paycheck. All right. And so let me see if I can actually pull up this. I believe this was a Fed Reserve. This was a Fed Reserve number here that, right. So the Fed Reserve's 2018 survey of household economics and decision making, in which some 12,000 households were asked about their savings well-being. So basically, out of those 12,000 people, they couldn't survive a $400 emergency, or they had to go into debt in order to survive a $400 emergency, right? Now, we've already taken a survey of what the audience says about how they feel about banking. Many of y'all feel it's a ripoff. Many of y'all feel it's not worth it. I think somebody said they would rather just put all their money in the stock market. But again, many of us can't survive a $400 emergency. So why is that, right? Why is that we cannot survive a $400 emergency? So I want y'all to put that in mind, keep that in mind. And as I share the presentation the right way this time, do me a favor, share this out with anybody who needs to be thinking about savings, who needs to be thinking about investing, and the right way to do it. All right. So here is my lovely face. It's Banking Dead. All right. So that is the title for today's exercise, is Banking Dead. All right. So I wanted to show y'all this first, right? So this is called the risk pyramid, or the investing pyramid, and how you should be thinking about the risk that is implied with each one of your investments. And this is how you should be thinking about where to put your money first. And so when you look at the pyramid, when you look at the bottom, the green part where it says low risk, that's the bottom of the pyramid. That's basically for cash. Now you see some other, funky, snazzy things, treasury bills, certificates of deposit, government and corp bonds. Those are all cool, but typically in the investment world, we look at those things as cash. Why do we look at them as cash? Because typically we can convert them to cash. So this is cash and cash equivalents. So you have cash in the bank, cash in CDs, cash in savings bonds, cash in government bonds, right? So the savings bonds and government bonds usually have to be cashed in. Usually you can get access to that pretty quickly. It has a low risk because you can convert that money with not a whole lot of volatility, or it doesn't experience a whole lot of volatility, which means ups and downs or changes in the price of that asset very, very quickly. And so you don't have to really worry about anything. All right. So, and then as you go up the next rung of the pyramid, it says modest risk. And so what's in modest risk? We talk about income stocks, growth stocks, mutual funds, index funds, real estate. These are all the things that are still relatively easy to liquidate, except for real estate, right? Anybody ever sold some real estate? It can be a day, it can be months, right, before your offer is accepted. Then you got to go to closing. So, there's some times, usually you can't go to the market or go to the bank and pull that money out right away. But real estate does not typically go up and down a whole lot, right? The value pretty much stays the same. It's pretty stable overall. So when you think about that, when you look at that, you say to yourself, all right, I'm pretty assured that this money is going to stay stable. And by the way, everybody, these are all hypothetical scenarios. These are not, necessarily what you may be experiencing right now, right? Remember, real estate is local. Stocks are going to be dependent upon when you brought in, right? Depending on what your cost basis is, or what your average price when you brought in. All right, so that's that's the yellow zone, or the orange zone here. Some say I'm colorblind, but you see that, right? Then we get up to the red zone. This is at the top of the pyramid. This is the high risk area. All right. These investments may yield large gains, but may also yield large losses. So long story short, you can make a whole bunch of money, or you can lose the farm and your shirt all at the same time in some of these investments. What do these investments look like? All right. Futures, options, commodities, penny stocks. Y'all know I hate penny stocks. You know I say penny stocks are the spawns of the devil. Precious metals, gems, collectibles, peer-to-peer lending, and cryptocurrencies. Now, why? Right? They're not trying to pick on these investments. They're just trying to say people can lose money, a lot of money in these investments, especially when you don't understand them. Right? So again, high risk is at the top, moderate risk is in the middle, low risk is at the bottom, right? So when you look at it, you got green, yellow, and red. If anybody ever pays attention when they're driving, if you have a driver's license in a vehicle, you know, green is kind of always a go. Yellow is proceed with caution. Red is stop, evaluate the situation, and then proceed on once you get the clear to go. So that's just telling you that you need to take these situations a lot serious. So now, with that said, and everybody is talking about how putting money in the bank isn't good. I've even seen some ads with people saying that. When you look at the low level, the green level, the foundational level, you see that cash is there. Now, I just showed y'all a story where it said that most people can't survive a $400 emergency. Most people cannot survive a $400 emergency. So do y'all think that's good or bad? Put a 1 in the chat if y'all think it's good. Put a 2 in the chat if you think it's bad. Just let me know that everybody's here and paying attention. I think that's bad because you don't have enough cash to survive. You don't have enough opportunity to take advantage of, you don't have enough cash to take of any opportunities that you might come along. You also see at that lower level and that lowest level, it's the widest of the base. So your cash should be there in place. So again, you can survive any emergencies and potentially take advantage of any opportunities while you might be in a low income or a low cash flow situation. But again, a lot of people don't think about this. Now, this is classic financial planning 101, y'all. This isn't anything sexy. This isn't anything that's going to make you rich. Nobody really gets rich off holding cash. However, if you don't have cash, you're probably never going to get rich, if you can understand that, right? So again, nobody ever gets rich just by holding cash. However, you'll never get rich if you don't have cash. Same things for savings, right? That's one of the reasons why I talk about saving so much, because I know most people, average people, don't save a lot. Most people are living check to check. The ends do not meet. The ends don't meet. They got more month than they got bills. So what does that say? Or they got more month than they got money is the actual term. So what does that tell you? A lot of us should be paying attention to more cash. Forget about the bank, right? Forget about the interest rates. Our job should be having as much cash on hand. Now, here's where I get a little frustrated with people who like to make stuff super, super fancy, super duper sexy, but they're not going to talk to you about what's going on, right? So I went up and pulled all the some bank savings accounts rates. All right. So you see here, I got Amex, Sallie Mae Markets, which is done by Goldman Sachs. I have Citi, Bank, and a CIBC bank, right? So all of these have a minimum deposit or a minimum balance of $1, right? You see $1, $0, $100. And we see Amex is paying you 0.6%. 0.6%, all right, or that's roughly 60% of 1%, or what they would say 60 basis points. It's 0.5%, y'all. All right, Sallie Mae is 0.55%. Goldman Sachs is giving you 0.5%. Citibank is giving you 0.7%. Vio is 0.66, and CIBC is 0.62. Now, with that said, does it really make a difference? Because when you look at it, if you're investing, let's say you invest $100 in each one of the accounts, they're all going to give you roughly $6 or $7 at the end of the year once you get your interest, roughly. But at the end of the day, I don't think any of that matters. Why? People chase interest rates all day long, but most people don't have $10,000 in their bank. Shoot, most people don't even have $1,000 in the bank. And so when that's really going to make a difference is when you have more money accumulated. But here's the thing. If you begin if you begin to develop a savings habit, then you can start thinking about some of these interest rates. Then you can start, interest rate shopping a little bit. But the first goal, the first thing you want to do is you want to save your cash, save your bread. Sadly, the United States is a very consumer-driven economy. We know that because 70% of all spending in the United States is driven by consumer spending, most of it. So if we're spending our money and we never develop that first base, that foundational base, it's really, really bad because you can never do anything else and you wind up staying in debt. So that notion of stop trying to keep up with the Joneses, as much as it's cliche, it's very, very true. It's very, very true. And then again, every time the market runs up, whether it be Bitcoin, any market, right? Whether it be Bitcoin or the stock market or real estate, we see everybody that wants to kind of herd in to those asset classes, whether it be Bitcoin, whether it be the stock market, whether it be real estate. They want to herd in and do that. And then everybody forgets the fundamentals. So I play basketball coming up. My favorite basketball player is Magic Johnson, right? LA Lakers. Yeah, I'm from Philly. I like the Sixers too, but I love Magic, right? I play basketball too. My favorite position, the point guard. Why? Because the point guard is supposed to be able to see all the angles. The point guard is supposed to be able to run the floor, get the ball out. The point guard isn't necessarily there to shoot and score, but the point guard is supposed to be there to put everybody in position. So essentially, when we're talking about money, you are supposed to be able to run the floor, run your money, put your money in position to make more money or do the right things for you so you can be financially stable and sound, right? If you don't understand how important cash is, you'll never be able to run that point. You'll never be able to be Showtime. You'll never be able to really amass true wealth, generational wealth, because I know that's a thing. And I know I talk about it too, right? So I'm a part of that. But if you don't understand how important cash is, you're never going to get there. So again, when we looked at that graph, at the bottom was cash. Cash is the foundation. Anybody know anything about building homes? Anybody know anything about houses? Construction? Put a 1 in the chat if you know about homes, if you know what you need to do. First thing when you do when you're buying a home or when you're building a home, well, one, you got to own the land, right? What am I trying to say, y'all? Site ownership is the key thing. So you got to own the property. That's the first thing you got to do. Second thing you got to do is we're going to assume this property is vacant, it's barren, it's cleared off. There's nothing there for you to do but build the house. First thing you got to do is pour your foundation. You got to frame it out. You got to get the forms and you got to put it in there. If you do not have a good foundation, right, which was at the bottom of that pyramid, your house is going to fall. It's going to be shaky. You're going to see all kinds of cracks develop over the years. It might stay there. It might even look pretty, y'all, for a while. But at the end, you get a strong wind, you get an earthquake, you get some other kind of natural disaster, you get a wayward car or a drunk driver that crashes into your car, you're going to have problems. You're going to have major, major problems. So keep that in mind, y'all. Keep that in mind. When you're building your foundation, when you're building your wealth foundation, you need cash. So when you see these goofy ass commercials running around by these so-called social media people, and they're saying cash is bad, cash is terrible, it's not giving you any interest rate. Listen, if you got less than $1,000, you should ignore it. I would venture to say if you have less than $10,000, you should ignore it. Why? Because you don't need to be trying to become super duper stock market Warren Buffett type dude. You need to worry about savings. Now, again, I am guilty of saying that anybody can invest in the stock market. If you notice though, I never tell y'all to dump all your money in anything. I tell you to buy incrementally. $1, right? I always say you can start investing in the stock market with $1. That's true. I know most of y'all trick off or spend $1 or $5 at Starbucks. And so I say, why not put that money to good use? So, but I'm basically telling you to use the money that you're tricking off anyway. I'm telling you use the money that you're wasting on the store anyway. I'm telling you to stop giving these other corporations the money that you are using to make them rich, to start shifting the equation and you become an investor instead of just a consumer. However, I'm not telling you to take the lion's share of your check or your business profits and throw it into the stock market, because I know that most of y'all, again, don't have adequate savings, don't have the adequate opportunity fund. Y'all know I don't like saying emergency fund because I do believe words matter. Words have power. And again, I've kind of explained this in previous broadcasts where I said the more cash you have, the more opportunities you have. Listen, every time you survive an emergency, that's an opportunity to learn something or either do something better. But again, if you don't put that money away, it's a waste. So again, I know everybody's like, yeah, you should get into the stock market. You should crowd into the stock market. It's a problem. Now, I showed y'all the stock market cycle, right? I showed y'all where all these non-sophisticated, and again, this is no diss to anybody. I'm just talking about the reality of it. You know, you got people that's just getting into the market, been in the market 6 months, and now they're putting out courses. I saw a guy the other day. I'm not going to say any names. He never talks about investments at all. And now he's got a course. And I swear to God, I see these people like every day. Probably never, I mean, they might have invested personally, but I don't think that necessarily qualifies you to really get on the platform and do it. And I know people do it because they say they're just sharing their experience. Cool. But they also don't understand a lot of the implications that other people go through day to day, whether it be a single mother who's got a bootleg baby daddy who don't want to help buy diapers, milk, and formula, or help feed, or help with daycare. And I think I've told you the story. Daycare almost killed me because the cost is so high. Having 2 kids in daycare at the same time is damn near suicide, y'all. But again, these folks are coming out with these stories. They really don't have great perspective. They don't study. They're not able to really tap into some of the other folks who are doing this, but folks are following them. And people always say, Kamari, why are your numbers so low? And I say my numbers are low because I don't talk about the sexy stuff. I talk about the fundamental stuff, the foundational stuff. And I'll keep doing that because I'm not necessarily here for the followers and the likes. I'm here for the people who are here really trying to make a difference in their lives and the lives of themselves, their families, and their communities. Those other folks, and this isn't a diss to them, I'll say 6 months to a year, because we will see a market correction. Those people are going to be like, damn, stock market is a scam. It's not a scam. You just don't understand it. And you here for fast money. You here for those lottery tickets. You here to try to be the new wave drug dealer and get drug dealer money. It don't work like that. Listen, anything good takes time, takes patience. And so it takes time and it takes patience to save your money. That's why it's not sexy. That's why people don't really talk about it. That's why people are saying the banks are trash. But again, we don't need to worry about bank account interest rates. We don't need to worry about savings account interest rates at this point. If you got less than 10 grand, I would really venture to say if you got less than 100 grand, but I don't want to go that far, even though I did kind of just say it. But you don't need to worry about that. The priority, again, you have latent benefits, which are the secondary things, and you have primary benefits. The primary benefit of saving is getting a mountain of cash at your disposal that you can deploy to, one, again, keep you safe from those rainy days when the roof caves in and you can't get an insurance adjuster out to look at it, to get it fixed, right? So you can get it fixed right away, because if it keeps raining, your property's going to get damaged. You're going to be in there swimming around in the boat, and that's not a good thing. All right, so that's the first thing, to deal with any emergencies, any unforeseen incidents that might happen. The second thing is to take advantage of opportunities, of great opportunities that you really understand, that you really like. Again, it's paramount, y'all. It's really paramount, because again, there's a lot of people out here, these false prophets, that are giving up bad information. And at the end of the day, it doesn't hurt them, because they just taking y'all money. They just taking y'all money. You want to start doing things that you can establish your own money. Matter of fact, I was telling my client this the other day. I said, listen, it's great that you can call me up and you can get great advice. And listen, always being able to get objective, unbiased advice is a good thing. But how do y'all think the Warren Buffetts of the world and the Charlie Mungers of the world are able to make money? I'm really interested in that. Somebody put that in the chat for me. I'm really interested to hear that. How do you think they're able to make money? Do you think it's because they're just some kind of superhuman? They're smarter than everyone else? That aliens came through and touched their head and just blessed them with all this knowledge? Like, why do you think these folks are able to do the things that they do? We can talk about Jay-Z. We can talk about Puffy. We can talk about Tyler Perry. We can talk, again, Magic, LeBron James, right? We can talk about all of those. Now, I'm not talking about the athletic pursuits of some of the athletes I named. Many of them have exceeded just being a dumb jock. Many of them are scholarly jocks or scholarly athletes. Many of them are just plain old smart. But I'm interested. Why do you think these people can do that? Put it in the chat. I'm really interested. So as everybody's putting it in the chat, I'll keep going, right? Because nobody wants to just sit here and watch me. I'll tell you why. Okay, Griographer says they're able to access large amounts of money on a dime. Yes, they're able to access large amounts of money on a dime, but they were smart enough to amass those amounts of money on a dime. They saved their money, right? All of them did not. Most millionaires that are created these days that are not products of, they are not trust fund babies. They do not have silver spoons. They got it from the muscle. Now, everybody's muscle is different. Discipline. Linda USA, Mr. Robert Lewis says discipline. Yes, definitely. They definitely have discipline. Ms. Edith says opportunity and money. Yes, a lot of them have opportunity and money, but I think the biggest word is the D word, discipline word that Mr. Lewis said. They had discipline. So yeah, there's some days they like, and I'm gonna use me. I'm talking from a married man's perspective. You're gonna say, babe, we can't go out this weekend. We need to stay home, cook at home, and Netflix and chill. Don Johnson says they have a circle of influence. Yeah, many of them do have a circle of excellence. Many of them do. But I'm gonna go back to that discipline, because the discipline says, well, listen, babe, we got a plan. No, it's not multiple streams of income, Griot. I've talked about multiple streams of income. Matter of fact, I got a clip that I'm about to launch, and I'm going to put it up. I'm going to put it up later, right? But it's not multiple streams of income. Multiple streams of income is a good thing, but it comes later. Now, let me do this. So there's basically 4 stages or 4 phases of wealth that people go through. All right. You have wealth creation, you have wealth management, you have wealth protection, and then you have wealth transfer. All right. So, and wealth creation is when you're hustling, you're bustling, you're trying to get your money on, you're trying to figure out how you can be creative. You might just be saving some money, putting some money in the 401k. All right. In your wealth management phase, you've now amassed some money and you're trying to figure out how to strategically put the money into play without it being a total Ponzi scheme, because we see a lot of people putting money into Ponzi schemes because those are high risk. We saw the chart. A lot of them are high risk. All right. But they're trying to put it into safer assets where the risk justifies the reward, or the reward justifies the risk. Either way. All right. And then you have, again, wealth preservation, where you're like in your later stages of life. You're like, I want to have this money. I want to make sure this money transfers to the next generation, but I got to be a good steward of it while we're here now. And then you have wealth transfer. Wealth transfer is when you're no longer here. You done gone on home. You transitioned up, meet the angels and the God, whatever God you serve or the universe you serve, and you're no longer there. But you want to leave a legacy for those behind you. That's why having wills and things like that are very important. That's why having life insurance is very important. So just keep that in mind. Multiple streams of income really don't come into play until, let's say, the 3rd phase. Nobody got rich by having multiple streams of income. I'm going to tell y'all who made this popular, who made it hot. Multiple level marketing, or MLMs, made it hot. It's funny, if you go back and track like marketing and trends and fads, somebody usually got behind something and made it hot, made it spark, made it sizzle, made everybody want to be involved in it. And multi-level marketing does such a great job at marketing their philosophy, their products and services. People have started to take on some of the verbiage, and now it's a thing. So now everybody talks about multiple streams of income. So tell me this, y'all. If your average American makes about $50,000, your average Black American makes about 35ish, something like that. And this is all textbook theory, right? Because we know everybody's situation is different. What should that person do? Should they try to work their job and maximize their income, save as much money as possible? Or should they try to work their job, try to write a book, try to start a blog, try to sell MLM, sell telephone services, or resell electric services, like the people that come through and they say, we want to resell your electric bill to somebody else, right? What should they do? We're talking about getting wealthy. What should they do? You can do all those things. 9 times out of 10, they're going to be mediocre at all of them. What's the one thing, right? I just named all these people. I named Magic Johnson. I made LeBron James, Bill Gates, Warren Buffett. I named all those people. Sorry for the interruption, y'all. DL Storage says you should become debt free. I disagree with that too. To me, the first thing they should do is develop a skill that they can bring to the marketplace and they can get money. And D-Store, I'll tell you why I disagree with that, because many times we pay off our debt, we don't have any savings, we pay off that debt, and then boom, we wind up back in debt because emergency hit. So it becomes really hard. So they should develop in my opinion, right? Listen, I'm just sharing with y'all my 20 years of experience between accounting, Wall Street investing, and tax. All right. You should develop a skill. You should develop a skill that you can do better than anybody else in the marketplace. Then you should figure out how to sell that and market that skill. Once you do that, then we can talk. Then you can talk about multiple streams of income, because you've maximized your income stream. Hopefully that'll be a natural thing. All right. If not, if you don't do any of that, thank you, Latoya. The cycle continues. The debt cycle continues. The poverty cycle continues. You need more income, period. And yes, you need to be smart about your money, right? So I'm not saying here that you should just, make more money and spend more money, but that's the American psychology. Part of the reason why my name is the Finance Rebel is because I'm telling you to rebel against the economic system that we've all been programmed to follow. And so we've all been programmed to follow that 70% of us spend our money. We dictate the economy. We spend 70%, right? 70% of GDP is ran by 70%. Personal spending or personal consumption accounts for 70% of GDP. What does that tell you? That tells you we're all victim to the ads. We're all victim to those ads that are trying to extract money out of our pocketbooks and wallets. You got to do something different. You have to rebel. All right. And again, some people think rebellion is a bad connotation. Some people get it. But rebellion isn't just necessarily picking up your guns and going to shoot the sheriff. Sometimes it's keeping your money in your pocket and not going to McDonald's. Sometimes it's keeping your money in your pocket and not going to the new high-priced restaurant. And no, because I know somebody's going to say this, well, personal spending isn't going to reduce the wealth gap. No, it's not, because the wealth gap is a really, really big thing, right? But it'll help you reduce your own personal wealth gap. It'll help you get a positive net worth. All right. So again, you need to understand the theory behind some of these things. That's why I studied finance and economics in Temple and Community College here in Philadelphia, right? I am not the product of money, y'all. I am not. I'm just a nerd. Just real facts. Just real facts. And I have everyday problems just like everybody else. But I know that I have to keep developing my business. I know I have to keep developing my skills. You all can do the same thing. We could all go to the library. We could all read certain things online. I don't think everything online is worthy. Just going to put that out there. I don't think everybody that has a YouTube channel is worthy. I don't think the posts that have the most likes or the most comments are necessarily worthy. I don't think the people that have the biggest following are necessarily worthy. A lot of them are plain old hucksters, snake oil salesmen. They just package their stuff a lot better than some others. And, I think, again, but going back to the banking, because that's what we're talking about, we need to worry about amassing cash. We need to worry about putting money aside so we can be available to take advantage of opportunities so we can survive emergencies. Again, it's not it's not the end all be all, right? It's pieces to this, it's levels to this, as Meek Mill says. It's not just a one size fits all thing. But we had to be careful about some of these adages and some of these people that we take a look at. So that's why when I see something and it sparks, I said, all right, well, let's talk about this, right? So that's why I brought up the investment pyramid, because I want people to understand. What it looks like. So let's go over it again real quick, because I know there's some people that joined in this broadcast and have not seen it. But again, at the bottom of that pyramid is cash. Cash is the foundation. Cash helps you do everything you need to do. All right. Cash, bonds, all those other things. It's still cash. If you can convert your investment to cash in, let's say, a couple days, let's say to a couple weeks, it will be considered cash or cash equivalent. If we are all talking about stock market, right, and we're really serious about it, we're looking at balance sheets. Adrian talked about GM and Ford. I've invested in Ford. Ford has over $35 billion in cash. Why would a corporation need $35 billion in cash? They need $30 in cash to make sure that they can survive. And best you believe it, they got other credit lines as well. All right. But again, when you look at this, the base, the foundation, the cornerstone is cash. The more cash you have, the better you have. So how do you get cash? Usually by savings. If you come into a major windfall, lottery ticket, a bonus at work, be sure to put some of that money in your cash. Don't go spend it all. Don't go to the movies. Don't go buy the new J's. Don't go do none of that. Because again, we're talking about you and how you can deploy your assets. Who are you? You Inc. How does You Inc. survive? How does You Inc. be able to take over and blossom and become the next Apple, or become the next Berkshire Hathaway, or, just become the next Bill Gates, for that matter? What do you need to do? Now, I'm not necessarily in the business of saying people should run their personal households like business, but you can look at it as a great analogy. All right. But then again, looking at cash. Cash is the foundation. Cash, cash, cash. Repeat that to me. Somebody put in the chat, we need more cash. We need more cash. All right. And then, you get good at cash, you can start investing. Now, I am no way, shape, or form saying to pay off your debt before you have all your savings in place, or to pay off your debt before you begin to invest. But let's stick to one thing at a time. Cash. You need cash, ladies and gentlemen. Then you can start thinking about stocks. Then you can start thinking about real estate. Then you can start thinking about crypto. Then you can start thinking about all the sexy and exotic stuff. Just imagine if we had more cash when my mom and Nana passes, when my mom and Nana don't have any insurance, when my mom and Nana don't have any insurance and we had to pass that. I ain't trying to be funny, but I've been in those situations. I'm going to keep it even more funky. When Ray and Tyrone and them get locked up, who's coming up with bail money? Still cash, right? My community is black. Just, again, going to keep it funky. We know black folks get incarcerated at higher rates than any other community in this country. Not going to talk about the why. We're just going to talk about what needs to happen. They need to be bailed out. So I've been part of those crowdfunding mechanisms that raise money from the family to bail people out. Several people. I've been part of the mechanism to pay for people's burials. If you had more cash, it would be less of a burden. Because again, those things, a lot of times, and again, I'm not trying to say everybody's a criminal. I'm not even going to try to say everybody's accused of being a criminal. What I am saying is these are some of the realities that we face in the black communities. Let's look at the black women. Black women's, and this might get me in trouble, but I'm going to stand by it. Black women are the de facto leaders of households in the black community. People don't like it, but they're there. And black women tend to take care of more people typically than some of the black men, just as a matter of statistics and facts. I'm a black man with children, a grandchild, and I'm married. So I'm not talking about any of the other social ills. But a lot of times these black women, get themselves into predicaments because they're always trying to look out for everybody else. And when you're looking out for everybody else, you never look out for yourself, right? There's one person that tells people to save for college for their children first before putting money into retirement. And I think that's like the most retarded thing ever. Super goofy. Why? You can take money out for college. You can borrow money for college. You can help your child work through college or get through college. Your child, 9 times out of 10, isn't going to be able to help you through retirement, or they shouldn't, right? That shouldn't be their burden, typically. Will they? Potentially, yes. But in the ideal world, no. You should be able to fund yourself and not add to their burden onto your child's burden for retirement. But guess what you need? You need cash. You need cash. You need cash, folks. I mean, again, we got to start thinking a bit more strategically. We got to stop getting caught up in the hype. We got to remember that ads are meant to sell. So even if y'all see me put out an ad, right? I'm looking to sell something. I'm just keeping it 100% funky. Your job, on the other hand, is to say, can I use this? Will it be of value to me? How soon can I put it in play? How soon will it materialize? And, one, helping me think better, one, helping me make more money in my business or in my investments. And you have to weigh that out. You have to absolutely weigh that out. And you should be going through that same process with any ad you see. So the next time you see the Golden Arcs, where they sell those Big Mics, you should say, do I really need a Big Mic? Do I really need to go to the Golden Arcs? Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? Somebody let me know what movie I'm talking about. I talk about this movie all the time. It's probably one of the greatest movies ever made. But you need to ask yourself, do I really need it? Is that a good use of my money? Could I put that money in cash? And can I go make some vegetables and drink some water? All right. So, I mean, I don't know if I can belabor this point anymore. Again, just to put a stamp on it. We need cash. We need to be avid savers. We need to be avid investors too, right? But again, for this conversation, we need more cash. Cash will help us through everything. And again, somebody just reminded me of another adage, another piece of foolery that's floating around in the social media world, is that credit is better than cash. Absolutely goofiness. Absolutely a lie. I'd say all the time, if you have cash and if you have credit, cash is king, credit is queen. Together, married together, they make a wonderful relationship, a wonderful couple, and they can create armies. They can create kingdoms. However, you still need the cash to make sure you got a good credit score. Why? Because you're going to have to pay a credit balance, a credit bill at some point, right? I mean, if you really wanted to take the time and study real finance, look at the way that finance does it. Look at the way corporations do it. And again, I'm not saying that you should run your household like a business, but look at why they prioritize cash so much. And look what happens to them when they don't have enough cash. They get downgraded. Their credit rating gets downgraded. So regular, ordinary people don't have to worry about credit scores, right? Or don't just worry about credit scores. Corporations have to worry about credit scores too. And they worry about credit scores when they don't have enough cash on the books to service their debt. Just like regular individual people go into bankruptcy. Corporations go into bankruptcy too. But again, you never see anybody go into bankruptcy when they got plenty of cash. I don't care if they're getting 0.1000% in the bank. If they have enough cash to manage their debt, they're not going into bankruptcy. That should tell you something. But again, we got people out here, because everybody needs a villain when they're selling an ad, right? You got people out there saying the banks are bad. You got people out here saying cash is bad. You got people out here saying that credit is king. You got people out here saying that you should just go into the stock market when they've only probably just did their first transaction 3 months ago, right? You got people out here telling you to become real estate investors or real estate moguls when they just did their first transaction 6 months ago and they only have one unit and it's a rental. And that's no shade to any of them. I guess the only shade that I'm throwing is that you're putting yourself out there as a guru and you're really hurting people. I mean, I'm really seeing people getting hurt. I saw one young lady say she took out $15,000 out of her 401k to give to this coach. And I'm just like, no. But they do it. And again, there is responsibility and accountability that's need to be had on that person that pulled the money out of that account, that 401k account, without seeking counsel, without seeking advisement, and just kind of doing it. So there's accountability on both sides. All I'm saying is whoever's watching this, make sure you get your financial education in order, your financial house in order, so you don't have to be like them folks. There's enough examples out there that you can see that they did that so you don't have to do that. They say, A wise person learns from another person's mistakes. So I need all of us to be wise and not just follow the trends and go along just to get along, y'all. All right. I see there's some questions, so let's do a brief Q&A. If anybody has any questions, go ahead and throw them in. I see some people joined over here on the gram. Trade World TMC, how are you? Leo Lady, how are you? Prez J2, how are you? P Wills 31752, how are you? Oh, Adam the Great's here. Kimmy Broom's here. Trucking with Miss T. How you doing? Welcome. So what questions y'all got? I'll stay on for about 5-10 minutes more before we wrap this up. Remember, you're watching the Finance Rebel Show. We do this wealthy conversation every Saturday at noon. We get on and talk about money things, right? Listen, trying to increase the financial IQ of people in the community, trying to share my 20 plus years of experience in hopes that we all can get to one step closer to financial freedom today. All right. So let's see what we got here. Yes, Adrian, cash will always be king. Well, you got king/queen/king. I think you meant to say king, period. Yes, cash moves everything around me. Did I say that? I'm a big hip hop fan. I'm a big Wu-Tang fan. So Miss Edith says cash moves everything around me. Cream, get the money, y'all. Dollar bill, y'all. All right, Melanated Alton's in the building. How you doing, sir? Welcome. Happy Saturday. Nicole, so you switched on me, Nicole. You on the gram? You're on YouTube now. Cool. Miss Edith says yes. The Lakers squad of 1980s. Yep. People forget that was like the perfect team, from Magic to Kareem to Worthy to Scott. I'm missing somebody. I can't think of them. It'll come to me in a minute. All right, so Don Johnson says you absolutely need cash on hand. Just not sure you need it in the bank. All right, Don, so where would you put it? You're one of these people that have $400 or you have less than $400 in the bank. You can't survive an emergency. Where would you put the cash? You want to put it under the mattress? Or you want to do like Nana and Grandma did, put it in a tin can, put it in that coffee can, stuffed around some coffee grinds? Tell me, where would you put it? All right, Miss Edith says horrible, only $400. Yes. All right, so people heard it. All right, Maddox, how you doing, Maddox? How you doing today? All right, so Agent says I buy via Robinhood. I saw last week's episode and agree with your breakdown of Ford. Okay, I brought more cannabis stocks too. You know what? I have a cannabis video that I'm about to drop. I gotta edit it. Hopefully I'll drop it this weekend because everybody's been asking me where or what should they invest in. Okay, Ms. Edith says that's the $1 million question. Where to save? I don't know. In the bank. Don't be picky. Let's put it in the bank. Now, again, once you get some higher thresholds, then you could have a different conversation. But then your conversation is going to change also, right? Because then you're going to say, you know what? Maybe I can look at some dividend stocks. Maybe I could look at loaning someone some money who's starting a business. Maybe I can look at investing in someone who's starting a business. Maybe I can look at some CDs. I mean, the world will become open up to you. But again, we got to get out of this consumer mindset and into more of a wealthy mindset. And it is deliberate. So Ms. Edith says, please tell me if the banks are loaning our money and investing for them, I need to deposit in a system that will benefit me. Yeah, so the banks deposit for you. And listen, the banks also do some other things too, right? I don't know about y'all, but it seems like home invasions are starting to rise. Now, hopefully you all have either renter's insurance or homeowner's insurance, so any cash that you might have under the mattress, that's legal, because they won't cover illegally gotten gains, right? Will be covered. Sometimes it's hard to show that it was really there, though. But if you got it in the bank, it's already insured. It's already protected. So, keep that in mind. All right, so Griographer says, what about my change? With there being a change shortage, can I keep that in the house? I mean, yeah, you can keep it in the house. I tell a story about change, how change saved my life, especially when I was a single father going to temple, and I was broke, and change started saving my life. So yeah, I mean, you can keep some change in the house, But what I tell people to do is can't really do it now as much because we're in such a cashless society now. But I would tell people to take the change out of your pocket and put it into a money jar. But times are changing, so that's not as relevant. I mean, you could look at I can't think of the system, Acorn. You can look at Acorn and kind of rounds up everything. And they'll take your spare change and they'll invest it for you. I think that's a great thing too. But yeah, you can keep changing the house. Perez J2 says thoughts on the stock market going into next year due to everything being at an all-time high. I think there's a correction coming. When? I don't know. How? I don't know. Where? I don't know. But it's coming. I mean, if you study the cycles, there's always a bust. There's an ebb and a flow. There's a boom and a bust. And so I feel that at some point we will definitely have some type of correction. Yeah. DL Store, you definitely could put cash in the money market. Yeah. Again, I'm not anti anything, y'all. What I'm just saying is there's an orderly way of going about things, and at least start to understand the order of operations, not to make this a math equation, but just to say that, we need to be thinking about savings more, because savings will help deliver us from a lot of things, from a lot of pain. All right, so let's see. Do we have any other questions here before I go off? Because I know I got to get my vittles. All right, so Ms. Edith says, I worked at a New York City childcare. It is killing to your paycheck. Yeah. So, all right, think about this, right? I have a client who's about to have a child soon. They make more money than the spouse. And I said, well, you might want to think about having your spouse stay at home after she has the baby, so you can avoid daycare. And he was like, oh man, I can't do that. We can't survive. I said, okay, get back to me after you look at some of these quotes for some of these daycare facilities. Now, if your person is not, if your wife is not a 6-figure earner or a high 5-figure earner, a lot of times it makes sense just from a money standpoint, right? I don't want to get into, the bonding with the child and all of that, because there's so many other things around that. So Geographer says, or Griographer says, so if there is a stimulus check drop, is that money to save and invest? So that depends on your situation. Listen, there are no cookie cutter solutions, none. However, I would lean to the side of savings. If I'm just looking at the numbers, if I'm looking at the data, and I'm saying most people don't have $400 to survive an emergency, and if you fall in that circle, in that bucket, I would say save that bread. That's what I would say. Now, again, I tell people all the time, you can always start savings. You can always start savings in the stock market, or you could always start investing in the stock market. It only takes $1. So every time you get paid, you can take $1. Matter of fact, I just told my wife, right? My wife goes to Dollar Tree all the time. She's like the queen of the dollar stores, especially Dollar Tree. I said, you have to start buying some Dollar Tree stock, since you were always contributing to their profits, just to get her more acclimated. She rejects everything that I talk about, though. She don't like talking about stocks. She don't like talking about money, nothing. Shakayla began. How are you? Welcome. All right, so let's see. Any other questions? So what do y'all think about this topic, y'all? Do y'all think we have enough cash as a community, as a group, as a nation? And so Ms. Edith says, yes, discipline is the best. Yes, my friend bought a house in 2008. She ceased having parties, or ceased attending parties, brought lunch from home, fasted and tied. Proud of her. Yeah. She did what she had to do to get her financial, and it sounds like her spiritual house in order. Yeah, that's part of it. I want to say this though, because a lot of times they say you want to get 5 more friends or 5 friends. You're the average of your 5 friends, right? But I think that the piece that's missing out of that conversation is, what are you doing to make yourself better, so you can be worthy to find 5 better friends? No diss. But some of us aren't thinking about that. Some of us are only thinking about taking. A lot of us are not thinking about what we could also give to those 5 or those 4 people in our circle to help make them better as well. We're not thinking about what we can do to better ourselves so we can become better stewards and help other people as well. Hey, Latoya, how you doing? I missed the context of that, Latoya. You said investing, but I'm not sure how or when. All right, so Nicole says work overtime. So if you're, working 35,000, if your average employee making 35,000 a year, what's one of the first things you can do? Work overtime. Yeah, but a lot of times overtime isn't available. However, if it is available, yes, that would be a good start. Raleigh Trade Forex, how you doing? Welcome. Oops, skip that. Miss Agent says I'm working on getting a better job, maybe a part-time job. Yeah, that's cool. Maybe you can get a side hustle instead of a part-time job. Then that way you can you'll have better money earning potential. Develop a skill, yes. Work the 9 to 5s, own their homes, and invest in the stock market. Yeah, sometimes it makes sense not to own a home, but that's a deeper conversation. I'm learning that people don't really like to have deeper conversations. I get called the anti-Bitcoiner. I get called the Bitcoin hater or the real estate hater at times. But again, it's all context. I don't have a problem with anybody doing anything. Question is, are you ready? Question is, after this holiday season, will you be calling me and saying, man, I spent too much money for Christmas. I spent all this money on Christmas. And I'm going to say, but didn't you do the same thing last year? So at what part do you break the cycle? And so I think that's when people get confused about what I'm saying. All right, so Latoya says that's what happens though. Social media gives people this illusion, and a lot of these celebrities never buy those designer items. Facts. Say that again. That's what happens though. Social media gives people this delusion, and a lot of these celebrities never buy those designer items you see them in. It's all advertising. Yep, a lot of social media. Listen, a lot of influencers, period, whether we're talking about celebrities, entertainers, athletes, a lot of them get free stuff from people. All right, so Ms. Edith now says, my son began Serena's program. We're trying everything that sounds smart to amass money. God help us. I'm willing to spend the money to learn how to earn more. Hashtag government contracts. Right. So she's talking about, again, I don't know, was that last week or was that week before? No, it was last week too, I think. So I had Serena Thomas on and talked about her program about getting into government contracting. She is a specialist in micro contracting. I actually joined the program as well. I haven't started yet, but the program is teaching people how to get into government contracting. If you don't know, the federal government buys more stuff, spends more money than any other entity anywhere in the world. So I've enrolled in it. Serena's an old friend of mine, actually an old client of mine. She's been everywhere. I knew her when she got her first government contract. She's been on me about getting into the contract space for quite some time. So I said, you know what? I'm going to buy the program. So I took the plunge and I bought the program. If anybody is interested in getting into government contracting, be sure to go check out that link right there. It's definitely something we can get on and learn from. Listen, we all spend taxes. These are our tax dollars going out. Might as well figure out a way how to get back some of those tax dollars and some earning potential, if not more. There are a lot of millionaires and billionaires that are created through facilitating government contracts. So it's a space that's wide open, and we, the Black community, are not largely there, and we should be. All right, so let's see, what else do we have here? All right, we got more. I really hate how the system kind of loads up on the comments at the end and I don't see it. Right, all right, that's where we started. Yes, we need more cash. Thank you, Ms. Edith. I worked at a funeral home. People started the process and never returned for the final payment. Wow. Left Big Mama. Or funeral paid by $1 bills collected in the neighborhood. I guess the new Cash App. Yeah. Or the new GoFundMe. Like the airplane message in an emergency, put the oxygen mask on first, then take care of the kids. Preparing for my retirement. Then I can help everyone else. Yes. Yes, 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 absolutely. Um, what's up, Kavan? So Kavan asks Heat and Air guys, should you use hard money to fix your property or use your own money? It depends. It depends on what you're doing. There's nothing wrong with hard money, y'all. Again, there's nothing wrong with any of these things. Again, it's being prepared. Now, Kavan is a business owner. I'm assuming he's got some profits, right? He's in the HVAC area. One of the only black people I know, again, one of the only black people I know that's in the HVAC area. He's got a great reputation, and is a good brother. And so he's heating air guy. So listen, if any of y'all need any heating and HVAC, what is it? Heat, vent, and AC or something like that. HVAC, y'all know what it is for your house. Check out Kavan. He's over at Heat and Air Guys. All right. Keep Kavan over at Heat and Air Guys. If you're in the Philadelphia area, check him out. All right. So again, it depends. It really depends. All right. So again, the Grill Grabber says, why are we still celebrating bogus holidays? I'm not going to touch that. I feel you, but I'm not going to touch that because everybody has their own thing. I always hated white Santa Claus. I'll just leave it there. I always hated white Santa Claus because in my community, we had a chimney, but our fireplace didn't work. That's one. And two, I always say, how does fat dude want to fit down a chimney? So I always thought it was a hoax. And my dad was always mad that I never believed the myth of Santa Claus. But, I get called all kind of things, y'all. So I get called Hotep, even though I know most people don't even know what Hotep is. I get called Republican, which are on different sides of the aisle. But anytime you halfway can at least form an argument against something or why you're not totally against something, not in a disrespectful manner, but just in a manner that doesn't necessarily agree with everybody else, they call you a name. You get singled out. So I don't know. But I will say this, though. I think the holidays are a great time for us to get together with family. I mean, I've had a couple of deaths with really, really close people, and it just makes you think about the time that you missed. And no money can bring anybody back. No money can bring anybody back. So I'll just say, cherish the times. There's a sister here in Philadelphia who a lot of people might call Hotep. I have a lot of respect for her. She's done a lot of work in the community as for Black rights, been a Black advocate, as a Pan-Africanist. And she dropped the post and she said, during all these times, and to give you some more context, they came up in the 60s. And he said, going through this whole militancy era where, I was anti-Christmas and anti-Thanksgiving, anti the holidays. She actually said she regrets missing those times because she didn't spend time with her families. And now she looks back, she has the benefit of going back. She has the benefit of wisdom and looking back and saying, I still could have had the same political, social stance, but I still could have went over and gave my aunties and my cousin a hug or a pound and said happy holidays or blessings to you on this day and every day, because everybody needs blessings every day, right? But I think sometimes we get so wrapped up into our cause that we remember the cause is supposed to be for the betterment of family, the betterment of community. And so if you're ostracizing yourself or sequestering yourself away from community and away from family, you're kind of going against yourself. So I'm really proud that she put that out there, because it gave me a way to kind of think about it. Because again, like I said, I ain't like white Santa. I ain't like that dude. If I saw a dude, I wanted to rumble him. I ain't really much of a fan of Black Santas either, but they're Black, so they family, kind of, sort of. But y'all get what I'm saying. All right, let's get through these comments and we'll finish up. What's up, Karan? How you doing, man? Welcome. Let's see. So Geographer says, Heat and Air guys may reach out to you. My son will be certified at graduation this June. I'm looking for an apprentice for him. Yeah, absolutely. And so Geographer, Griographer, I know a lot of times, and I'm picking on you, I just want to say this here, right? But I just want to make an example. A lot of times we want to reach out to companies and ask for scholarships, apprenticeships, internships, anything like that. And that's cool, and that's what we should be doing. And I don't know if this is you or if it's not you, so don't take this personal. Again, I'm just using it as an example. But us businesses should also, or people with skills, right? We should also be looking back to our communities to help our business owners. Now, Griographer, I think who you are, you're a photographer here in Philly, and you do awesome work. It would be great if you can figure out a way to barter with Kevon and maybe do some photography for him, and y'all swap that out. And I think that's something we should all be thinking about, not to the detriment of ourselves or our family or our bank accounts, but just a way to say, hey, I see you. I know you're dope. I know you're working in the community. Here's just a little token that, I can help you. We have to get out of kind of thinking Americanized, and we have to think in what's the best avenues for our community to get us up to the next level of things. Just my commentary. Scope Scribe, how are you? I keep saying your name wrong. Griographer. We don't have to invest all the materials needed. I agree. I did a video. I said top 5 videos that people can do at Christmas times and holidays. Buy stocks is one of them for our children, because most of the times the things that we get them for these holidays are a waste. They're a total waste. But again, it's not judgment, right? Because if you've been socialized and programmed to do a certain thing and that's all you know, it's really hard to break that. But when you look at the Jewish community, a lot of times when you look at the bar mitzvahs and the bat mitzvahs, they're giving cash. College funds are being stored there. Why can't we do the same thing? I believe we can do the same thing. All right. Just found your program, brother. Good stuff. All right, good stuff, man. Let's lock in. I saw you put a request out, but I usually don't do the live jump on when I'm broadcasting live, but we can definitely do a live or chop it up later. Scope Scribe says collaborating skill sets promotes cooperative business success. Let me take a sip of water. I'm messing you up more than I usually do. All right. So again, Scope Scribe said collaborating skill sets promote cooperative business success. All right. And check out Scope Scribe, because she is one of the founding members of the 10K Project. The 10K Project is an assemblage of these awesome sisters and a brother, at least one brother, where they're working on being able to build a platform that we can fund our Black businesses who need funding. All right. And so the idea is, can we get 10,000 people to come together to put up $100? Now, that could be one time, that could be several times, but we can kind of build a platform to help our Black-owned businesses get funding, because we know that is a major problem. And that is a problem that the community should be able to solve. Listen, no community solves its problems by relying on another community to fix them. Again, no community solves its problems by relying on another community or government to fix them. All right. All right. So Griographer says, I used to get bonds. That was wonderful once they matured. Yeah, bonds are cool. Bonds are cool. And I believe you are saying savings bonds. Those I bonds, those E bonds, things like that. Ola Bizito. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Okay, so it's Griographer. Drop the T. Griographer. All right, that's dope. I like that. All right, let's get through the rest of these, because y'all know I gotta get my vittles. Let's say, all right, you got it. You caught it. So I said, let's go to McDowell's instead of getting a Big Mac. We can get a Big Mick. One of the best movies ever made. One of the funniest movies ever made. Preparing my meal as we speak. I ain't spending money at nobody's restaurant. I ain't mad at that. I use them equally. You can leverage against credit. Yeah. Jamardo, you're a business owner. I'm betting you're probably using your credit or your leverage for your business more than a personal. Tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if I am wrong. All right. And there's nothing wrong with that. Again, it's all about time and space and what you're doing. Also, when you spend cash, it's gone. That's right. That's why I tell people to amass more cash before they get into paying off their debt super duper aggressive. So, all right, Mark's one of my Wichita connections. Shout out to Mark in the Heartland, USA. Mark says, what's your advice for businesses looking to invest towards future growth? What sectors would you focus on? So, Mark, I'm not sure how to answer this question, because you said future growth in your business. What sector would you focus on? So I'm assuming you're talking about your business or anybody that's in their business. So your sector would be food, an industry like, matter of fact, talking about Serena. Serena said, what products could you offer in government contracting? Right? Can you buy flour and sell it to the government? So I would look to potentially position yourself to get government contracts to provide food services or food products. I'm not sure if that's what you were talking about. Listen, in my opinion, your business is the very best thing you can do to build wealth, or creating a business, creating a profitable business is the most important thing you can do to create wealth. However, there's a caveat, there's a downside. Having a business is also probably the most riskiest thing you can do in your wealth pursuits also. So just keep a thought about that. All right, so Kurt Rambis was in the starting five for the Lakers, or was it Norm Nixon? You're going back to like the 70s. They both were at the Lakers. I'm thinking 80s. And I think Norm Nixon might have came in the late 80s, but in the early 80s, but I'm not sure. All right, so Ms. Edith says that's right. Spouse should remain home. Child care can cost $500 more a week, right? So $500 a week. They're going for a week, so that's at least $2K a month. $2K a month. All right, so Ms. Edith says, from next stimulus check, no investing if you don't have the emergency fund. Yep. There's a lot of things going around. There's a lot of people who are who got those, what is it called when you don't have to pay your bills? Moratoriums. Got moratoriums on your mortgage, got moratoriums on utilities, got moratoriums on your rent. And a lot of people haven't been paying those things, not even a little bit. They haven't been saving their money either. So, it's rough out here. It's rough out here. All right, so we got Mark's question. Edith. All right, what's this here? Emergency fund. All right. Oh, Jamar, you want the deeper conversations? I get it. Well, you're an EA, man. You're an enrolled agent. Last week was Serena's presentation. The family on YouTube tapping in, bro. Your consistency going to get you to the top fast. All right, I hear that. A lot of people say that. It's not so much the top. Listen, I'm a human being, so yes, we all want to be acknowledged for our work in some way, shape, or form, right? But the real thing is the impact. People are here every week, and that to me makes my day. When I see Miss Edith here every week, when I see Adrian here every week, when I see Don's here every week, I don't want to miss anybody out. Melody Alton's here every week. Please, if I didn't mention you, it's not a diss. I'm just trying to, read through the comments and acknowledge y'all. But everybody who's here every week, I love it. And that means they find value. I'm doing something right because they wouldn't waste their time to be here every week. So it could be 1 people, it could be 1,000 people. I'm just here for the people that rhymes. I'm not a rapper, but that kind of rhymes, right? So again, I appreciate that. The family of YouTube, I'll definitely check out your channel as well. Are you going to put this in the video description? You know what? I am terrible at my video descriptions for these, even my podcast. By the way, if you haven't checked out the podcast, just do a search on YouTube, type in The Finance Rebel Show, and you can listen to these on the go in your car, when you're working out, when you're cleaning up around the house, and you can listen to it on the podcast. So again, The Finance Rebel Show. But I'm terrible at doing these, at doing the video descriptions, because sometimes I'll get busy because like later on the day, I got some work to do. And then I'll get busy. And then, because I'm almost broadcasting almost 7 days a week, I'll probably get to doing a square 6 or 7 days a week going forward. And so it's hard for that. So at some point I gotta get some money, y'all, so I can pay for somebody to do those descriptions for me in the podcast descriptions. But yeah, I'll probably try to get to the descriptions. The descriptions, if you are venturing out on YouTube and you want to do YouTube, descriptions matter. Descriptions matter because SEO matters. And so I'm kind of hurting myself when I don't have full descriptions in them, because I don't get to take advantage of SEO. But that's the plan. That's the plan. Hard money, know your ROI. Yes. So that's Jamar's response to, I think Kavon asked about, should you use hard money or your own money to fix up a home? Yeah, you definitely have to know your ROI, or what your projected ROI is when you're using hard money, because they're going to hit you with hard money with higher interest rates than your average. And you have to pay that. Again, it's a risk reward thing, right? Because if you can go to a traditional lender and get those. They'll give you a lower interest rate because it's typically less risk. You're a more established credit. We have a more established credit profile. However, sometimes these hard money folks will invest in people who don't have as great of credit, or sometimes you might have more projects out there and it makes your credit look bad, even though you've been responsible the whole time with paying your bills and getting everything. So it matters. It matters. Yes, hit the like button, everybody. Yes, I'm fighting the algorithms, y'all. Please hit the like button. Subscribe to all my channels. Follow me on Facebook. Subscribe on YouTube. Follow me on Instagram, and we could always chop it up. Yes, remember. Thank you, sir. Thank you. I work for the government and receive a paid holiday. Are people accepting that money? What part of the holiday is bogus? Just asking. Well, I think now I want to say your name right. I think Griographer was talking about the foundations or the origins of the holidays, right? We know for Thanksgiving that just passed that it wasn't necessarily this peaceful thing where the Pilgrims and the Native Americans, I was about to say Indians, but that's wrong, where the Native Americans got together and broke bread. That ain't what happened at all. All right. Why wait for the holidays to unite? No, I agree with that too. Thaddeus. What happened to family reunions and things like that? I mean, they're still here. COVID's here. But usually, symbolism matters, y'all. I know symbolism gets a bad rep, but symbolism matters, and people usually unite around some type of symbolic gestures or events and things like that. I would love to see the Black community create more of their own holidays. The only holiday that we have right now is Dr. Martin Luther King's birthday. You can kind of say Black History Month. I am a fan of Black History Month. I'm not part of the anti-get rid of Black History Month. If you understand the origins of Black History Month, I don't see how you could ever say that. But I agree, Thaddeus. We shouldn't just wait for holidays to get together. All right, so Ms. Edith says these man-made holidays allow me additional time with loved ones. I've never told my boss, please don't pay me for that holiday. My mom painted our white Santa brown. Okay, all right. I hear you. What about taxes and banking? Which platform would be better to save during tax time? It wouldn't matter. Just save, right? We can work out what your projected tax burden is going to be, your tax bill is going to be come tax time. But it doesn't matter. Again, I showed y'all the interest rates. They're not really staggeringly any different. I do know some people who like the interest rate shop, but again, it doesn't matter. The biggest thing with taxes, though, is, to planning. Right now, everybody should be tax planning, especially if you have a business. You should be figuring out how you can save money. Taxes are the biggest enemy to wealth that you'll ever see. Pay tax on everything. Federal, state, local, real estate tax. There's a cell phone tax. There's a gas tax. There's taxes everywhere. We get taxed at the wazoo. So I think you should be doing a better job of just trying to plan around your taxes and what you should be doing better. And by the way, since we talked about taxes, these folks that are telling you to start an LLC or to start an S Corp or to start a C Corp are trash. They're trash. Why? Because everybody's situation is different. And if they're telling you you're losing money because you're a certain designation, like I saw one meme that said most people are LLCs, they should be S Corps. Well, you don't know that. There are certain qualifications and things you're supposed to do when you have an S Corp. There's certain things you need to do when you're a C Corp. A lot of times when you designate these entities at the state level, you have to pay a fine every year, whether you make money or not. California, if you have an LLC, you got to pay $800, whether you made one dime in profit or not. Maryland, I think, is either $300 or $500. New York is either $500 or $800. I think Massachusetts is either $500 or $800 every year. So it behooves you to do your research before you get into these situations. All right. Jamar says both, so he's leveraging credit for both personal and business. Smart man. All right. So Ms. Edith says she does not agree with that. All right. Listen, everybody, I am super, super appreciative and humbled that you all are here this week. Remember, Finance Rebel Show, this is our wealthy conversation segment every Saturday at noon. Tomorrow, I will be on the Black Wealth Project, which starts at 7. The topic for tomorrow's subject or topic or show is the economics of love. So if you're interested in the economics of love and how that plays a part in your business and your overall life, tune into the Black Wealth Project tomorrow at 7 p.m. Oh, I was about to wrap up for but I see I got more questions. Sorry, y'all. All right, let me shout through these real quick. All right, so he here says thanks. Of course, International Hove. Scope Scribe says Kwanzaa is a recognized holiday in our community. Yeah, it is. And I love the Nguzo Saba. I love the 7 principles of Kwanzaa, but a lot of people still kind of hate on Kwanzaa. I don't get it, but it is what it is. International Host says, are you taking clients for business taxes? For the right business client, yes, I will. Some folks like to try to do slick stuff, not trying to insinuate that you will. But yes, answer your question, yes. All right, note, if you wish to equity crowdfund, you do not need to be a corporation rather than an LLC. All right. Well, again, thank you, everybody. I appreciate you all being here. Again, tomorrow, the Black Wealth Project at 7 p.m. Next Wednesday, 8 o'clock for Wealthy Wednesdays. And, of course, next Saturday, Wealthy Conversations at noon. All right. If anybody has any questions or want to get in touch with me offline, do me a favor. All you got to do is send me a text. That's a community that I have, right? So when you're sending those texts, you're sending them directly to me. Again, that number is 215-974-0058. And so I'm building my whole community off of social because I don't like anybody having control over my access to my people. And I consider you all my people. So go ahead, check in, tap in with me, 215-974-0058. Okay, everybody, listen, it's Saturday. Grab your people, y'all. We dropping like flies, y'all. Honor them, love them in this time. COVID's about to spike. Wear your mask, please. Stay healthy, too. Don't see a whole lot of people, folks, talking about staying healthy and getting exercise. Drink your water. Do all of that. Money is cool, but living is better. Money can help living be better, but if you ain't living, what's the point of the money? All right, so keep that in mind. Health is wealth. Health is wealth, y'all. All right, so I will see y'all again next time. Everybody have a great day. I appreciate you all. Happy Saturday. Bye-bye. All right, folks, I'll see y'all later.